What's up everybody, Ben the Blur here today, bringing you LEGO Transformers Thunderspear. So here we have Thunderspear in his Cybertronian truck mode, and I must admit he's very menacing. He is of course a Decepticon, and originally I planned him to be an Autobot, but I think just because of how he looks like in robot mode and vehicle mode, he doesn't look like an Autobot, he looks like a Decepticon. So he's got the nice, he's actually got rollable wheels, so he does roll. He's got headlights up the front, he's got this nice little cockpit piece. This is meant to be like a hood with using robot arms. The Decepticon logo there. Big jagged edges on the backs of his truck. Obviously this is meant to be almost like an exhaust pipe. And it sort of reminds me of something that you expect to see in like the Mad Max franchise. You know, like a turned and, you know, modified, just like truck, you know. On the underneath of him, you can't really see too much, which is quite nice. However, you can sort of see his head right in there, which is a bit of a bummer. But I really do like this dark navy blue colour scheme mixed with the light grey, dark grey and black throughout him, and I think that really sells it as like a modified truck. And there's a reason, there's sort of like a reason for his like lore, I guess you could say. His character, his backstory. That I'll explain a bit more in robot mode. So for a very quick size comparison, here he is compared to a LEGO minifigure. So of course that, you know, is sort of to scale, but the car should be slightly bigger. And then here he is compared to an Autobot. And there's Flash Drive. So he's obviously taller and he's wider. And minus his Flash Drive's wings, he is actually a little bit longer than him. So yeah. Anyway, I guess there's not really much else to say about him, so let's just get on to his transformation. So to transform Thunderspear, first things first, what we're going to do is we're actually going to come to the bottom. And this little piece here, I'm going to take off, just there, clips onto a 1x1 with a clip, and set that off to the side. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to come here to the bottom, the front of the vehicle, and we're going to pull these whole assemblies down and out of the way to form his legs, just like that. Now we're going to flip up his feet, twist them around, and then on these bars, if you can see, we're going to slide them along just to get his feet in the proper placement. Just like that. And then lastly with his legs, we're just going to take the wheels and going to rotate them around on these jumper plates. And there we go. Just like that. Stand him up, and let me just very quickly pull up the camera about here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bend or let the waist drop, and we're going to rotate his waist and put it nice and flush against those robot arms. Now what we're going to do is these assemblies here we're going to bring down, bring them along, and then push this bar piece up on that clip, so that the clip sits just about halfway along that bar. Flip out forearm and bring down his upper arm, and you know what, we'll just pull it out for the time being just to give him a bit more posture. For some reason this one is a little bit tighter than the other. Oh, just pulled his arm off. Whoopsie. There's that. One of the last things, we're going to pull back these panels and rotate them and sit them nice and flush against his backpack. This little clip, we're just going to push all the way back and rotate his head around. Situate everything to our liking. and there we have Thunderspear in his robot mode. So here is Thunderspear in his robot mode, and it's very unique. He goes from turning from a very menacing looking, almost like monster truck style, into a very sleek looking robot. He has some nice features to him, which I do think are pretty cool. He has these nice curved panels on the outsides of his arms and obviously on his legs. The wheels almost become like thrusters for him to do like a big leaping jump. And that is basically sort of a lore piece or a backstory piece to his design. I like to think that he was originally a slightly smaller robot, and he was a Decepticon who grew up in the Kaon fighting pits in the arena, just like Megatron did. And so he modified himself to be more menacing. This grille panel was obviously something he installed, which almost seems like it's Gladiator skirt armor, which I think is pretty cool. His articulation, his head can go from side to side, his arms go in and out of the inner shoulder, they go all the way around 360 degrees at the outer part of his shoulder. He's got, you know, bending elbows, he's got waist rotation, his legs go forward and backward, they swing in and out, and then his feet can move up and down and rotate as well. So you can get him into some positions, but the whole waist is just connected by a clip on one jumper plate, so it does make him a little bit back heavy, which is why you need to get his legs into the proper placement, which is a bit of a disappointment, but I still think he looks really cool, and that's the main thing I look for, is a really cool looking Transformer. For a quick size comparison, here he is compared to the minifigure, just like before. This seems pretty accurate. Maybe he should be just a little bit taller. Here he is next to another fellow Decepticon warrior. Here he is next to Shrapnel, who is currently hunched over because he has his gun on his back, which makes him back heavy. Oh. So as you can see, he is a fair bit taller than him. Here he is next to Atom Breaker. And as you can see, they look pretty damn good together, I think, personally. Now, as final aspect about him, about his character, is, of course, like all my other LEGO Transformers, they have to have unique abilities, and that's where his name comes from. His ability comes from this. This is his spear. It's a little piece that I made just with like 5 pieces, which I think is pretty damn cool. It attached back here on this little clip that was on here, that basically hides his head in vehicle mode. It was attached here, but I like to think that when he transforms into robot mode, he can not only just hold it in his hand, but he can use it for his power. Obviously, he can use it as a melee weapon and stab and poke enemies. He can use it as a ranged weapon to throw at enemies, and he can rip them apart, you know, because he's a Decepticon fighter, he's a warrior. But also of his ability. You take off this clip, place it on the end of his spear, and you could attach a lightning piece to it, and it gives him his Thunderspear, which is his power. Of course, he looks a bit odd just holding it straight up like this, so I like to think that, you know, he charges into battle and he can use his power to electrify enemies and monsters to stun them, and then he can use his spear to rip them to pieces, absolutely demolish them, which I think is pretty decent. He's nowhere near my best LEGO Transformer, but definitely I don't think nowhere near my worst. I do quite like him. Obviously, eventually I'll have to dismantle him to use the parts for other LEGO Transformers, but I think that's pretty much going to be about it for him. So thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to like, comment for any other suggestions or ideas that you have, and I'll see you next time. So peace out, guys.